good evening, and welcome. Tonight, we will take a long, gentle journey through time, exploring marriage customs from around the world. Some will sound unusual, even strange by today's standards. Others may seem beautiful, poetic, or even a little humorous. But each of these traditions tells a story of culture, of family, of community. And so, as you listen, allow yourself to relax. Let your breathing slow, let your thoughts soften, and let these quiet stories of history carry you gently toward rest. Part 1. Ancient Beginnings. Long before modern weddings, marriage was a way to unite families, tribes, and kingdoms. Customs varied greatly from place to place. India, the Swayamvara. In ancient India, a bride did not always wait to be chosen. Instead, she might hold a ceremony called a Swayamvara, which means self-choice. Suitors would gather, sometimes noble warriors, sometimes scholars. They might display their strength, their skill with a bow, or their wisdom in debate. At the end, the bride would walk slowly through the hall, carrying a garland of flowers. She would place this garland gently over the man she chose. It was not only a test of strength, but also of destiny. For those listening tonight, imagine the hall filled with flickering lamps, the fragrance of jasmine, and the quiet anticipation of many hearts. Ancient Sparta, a different bride. In Sparta, the customs were quite different. On the wedding night, the bride's head would be shaved. Her hair, a symbol of femininity, was removed. She would wear men's clothing and wait for her groom in a quiet, darkened chamber. Why? Some historians believe it was to make the transition from girl to wife symbolic. Tibet, brothers and one bride. In certain Himalayan communities, one woman did not marry just one man, but several. Often, brothers would share a single wife. This practice, known as polyandry, helped keep farmland from being divided into smaller and smaller pieces. It was practical but also deeply communal. The bride would live with the brothers, and children were raised collectively. Imagine the snowy mountains outside, and a warm fire inside, where family bonds meant survival. Part 2. Medieval Rituals and Festivities. As centuries passed, Europe and Asia developed new customs. Some joyful, some messy, some even a little embarrassing. France, the chivalry. In medieval France, villagers would hold something called a chivalry. Picture it. Newlyweds hoping for a quiet night. But outside their home, neighbors banged pots, pans, and drums. They shouted, sang, and made as much noise as possible. This noisy parade was meant to celebrate the marriage, but also to remind the couple that marriage was a public matter, not just private. In some towns, the racket might go on for hours. In others, it was good-natured teasing. To us, it might sound disruptive. But for them, it was a way of saying, we see you, we celebrate you, we welcome you. Scotland, the blackening of the bride. In Scotland, some brides were not treated gently before their wedding day. Friends and family would seize the bride and cover her with soot, feathers, ash, and even spoiled food. She would be paraded through the streets, dirty and laughing, or sometimes perhaps not laughing at all. This strange ritual was called the blackening. It was believed that if a bride could endure such humiliation, she would endure the difficulties of married life. It was messy, it was loud, but in its own way it was a kind of blessing. England, handfasting. In medieval England and Scotland, couples practiced handfasting. A simple ceremony. The bride and groom's hands were tied together with a strip of cloth or ribbon. It symbolized binding their lives together. From this custom, we get the phrase tying the knot. Quiet, simple, almost poetic. Part 3. Modern Strange Customs. Even in more recent centuries, marriage customs have remained unusual. China, the crying bride. In parts of China, brides once began to cry, not on the wedding day but a month before. Each evening, she would sit and weep. Soon, her mother would join her, then her grandmother, then other women in the family. It was not sadness. It was a tradition of expressing emotion and joy through tears. a way of saying that marriage was both happiness and loss. Imagine the sound of many women's voices, layered together, soft weeping, like music. Kenya, a father's blessing. Among the Maasai of Kenya, a father may spit lightly on his daughter's head and chest before she leaves to live with her husband. To outsiders, spitting may seem disrespectful, but in Maasai culture, it is a powerful blessing. It protects against bad luck and brings fortune to the bride in her new life. South Korea, beating the groom's feet. In Korea, friends of the groom sometimes remove his shoes after the wedding feast. They tie his ankles and beat the soles of his feet with sticks, or sometimes with dried fish. The ritual is playful, not painful. It is meant to test the groom's strength and spirit, and perhaps to remind him that marriage, too, requires endurance. From ancient India's flower garlands, to Scotland's messy blackening, to the gentle sound of weeping brides in China, marriage has never been just about two people. It has been about family, community, tradition, and meaning.
And while these customs may seem strange to us today, they were never random. Each one carried hope. Hope for good fortune, hope for strong families, hope for a lasting union. So as you drift now toward rest, let these stories remind you that human life, in all its variety, is filled with creativity, with ritual, and with love. Sleep well, and may the strange and wonderful stories of history guide you gently into dreams